Hey YouTube, KS51. It is Thursday, May 14th, 2014. So, I've done a few videos now, various topics. And a lot of it's been, the Jade Helm 15. And now we have coming out in the news, Operation Red Flag, that you can look over and see the plans for that training drill, exercise, whatever. Apparently that's a big one. I don't know a whole lot about that one yet. And I've been thinking about all of this, and I've been thinking about there's so many facets to everything here. So many issues that we deal with on a daily basis. Things that we see in the news, from the news, with politicians and military and global financial crap, American financial boondoggle debt. And I've come to a conclusion. And I've said this before, to a degree, but maybe not quite in this way, that it doesn't matter. None of it matters. Because in the end, whatever the situation may be, whatever the crisis that may come, we're responsible for one thing. And that's ourselves. That's us. And it's up to us to take care of ourselves and our families. And then consider charity beyond that. I find it interesting that Americans are identifying less and less with Christianity. For whatever reason. Whatever reason. I personally am a Christian. A saved Christian. I try to act like it, but Lord knows I don't do a very good job. And I'll be the first one to admit it. I don't cast stones either. But I mean, if you're a Christian, that's great. I don't care if you're a Buddhist. That's awesome. If you have a moral compass or an enlightened individuality, I get that. And that's a good thing. Because it allows you to care and give a shit for your fellow man. I try to. God knows I try. I try to, or as of late, I've tried to really be concerned for my fellow citizens and so on and so forth. And I mean, and to a degree, I can give you examples, but of being a good person and so on and so forth. But it leads me to various things that I see and I go, these are nothing but pure evil. People who abuse animals, or children, or pedophiles, or so on and so forth. Or politicians. I have a disdain for politicians. Not the kind of disdain where most people say, oh, politicians, I don't like politicians. But yet they go out and they vote every time they have to vote, and they vote for one of these politicians. The same people that they rail against Monday through Friday on AM talk radio. yet they run cover for them. Evil politicians. Politicians that would deny you your natural rights. I'm not even going to say God-given. I'm going to say natural rights, because every man was born with natural rights. The right to life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness. And that all men are created equal in these rights, natural rights, or God-given rights. Some people call them human rights. Call them whatever you will. But men and women on this planet, I don't care from what country, nationality, or religion you're from, have the right to live and be happy and pursue whatever it is that makes them happy. Now, I know some people would say, well, it's a bit of a stretch to consider a politician evil. Politicians are the most evil. I would put a politician below a pedophile. It's like, wow, that's really a bit of a stretch. Not really. I encourage you to do some reading. Larkin Rose. Several of those videos are on YouTube. You can check those out too. But Larkin Rose was an anarchist. And I believe he was actually an atheist too. But some of the things that he says resonate in the aspect that politicians would deny you your natural right to life, to liberty, to your pursuit of happiness. Politicians would deny you the right to self-defense by any means necessary. Politicians would control you in every aspect and facet of your life if they could. Politicians are the root of evil in this country. The system wasn't originally set up that way. It wasn't supposed to be that way. But now that we have these separate city-states of Washington, D.C., that's not even technically a part of the United States. It's its own jurisdiction and its own laws and has its own, I guess technically like a constitution. And these politicians go live there and remove themselves from we the people. They are not part of we the people. But yet they dictate to us the laws that we the people must live under. There are many, many words to describe what we are. And one of them is not a republic. Oligarchy, corporate fascists, as some would have it that are in certain facets of the government, socialists, communists. And all of those things are meant to control and use. Americans are slaves. The only difference is we don't wear our chains. They're not visible. We're not indentured servants because eventually we can go free. Or indentured servants could go free. We're slaves. And we're slaves because in slavery, the slave doesn't get to keep the fruits of his labor. And I would argue that we don't get to keep the fruits of our labor, that the government, our slave master, does. And it dictates to us the rules that we must live under. Slavery. I know some people have read Zinn's book, The Real or the People's History of America. But I watched a documentary last night from Dinesh D'Souza, America, Imagine a World Without Her. Tell you what, that'll get you thinking. And he makes great case arguments for quote-unquote injustices by our country and by America. But the thing that Dinesh D'Souza leaves out, and that I noticed pretty quickly, the factor that he completely glosses over is evil. The evil of man, the evil of politicians, and the corruption that's rampant. He looks at everything from a political ideology standpoint, and it's not just a political ideology standpoint. There's a religious factor in there. There's a moral compass factor in there. And the arguments for the ideas for this country are solid. And the idea of freedom and liberty and the United States and of America in general are great ideas. These are the ideas that we wave our flag behind. These are the ideas that some of us put the uniform on for. These are the ideas that, you know, we put our hand over our heart and we carry our flag proudly because of these ideas. These ideas that all men are created equal. The ideas of freedom, equality, equal, not special. The idea that you can become whatever you want through your own sweat of your brow. The idea that you can prosper through your own ingenuity and become your own human. These are the ideas that we carry, that we put on our mantle as Americans. A uniquely American idea. Why I can classify politicians lower than pedophiles. And I know that's harsh, because I'm sure there's some people in the media that would just lambaste me for that. And so be it. They're entitled to their opinion because they're friends with these politicians. And I say all politicians. I don't care who it is. I don't. Because anyone that publicly goes into that service under the auspices of lying to we the people in order to gain money, power, they are evil. They don't carry those ideas that we carry. And good men can't get into politics because the thought of it turns their stomach and there's a disdain. So, I guess I put it to the people in the media. Why do you carry their water? Why don't you ask them the hard questions? Why don't you make them address things like Executive Order 13206, where humans, American citizens, we the people, are nothing but a human resource. We are a resource to be used and thrown away. Work when labor camps under the Inmate Internment and Resettlement Program, FM 3-39.4. Why don't they address these things? Why don't they address the NDAA? Why don't they address 31 Echo MOS in the military? The Army's made up of we the people. It's run by we the people. Elected politicians are quote-unquote in control of the military. And as nauseating as that is for some military guys, and believe me, I know, they have to answer to them. The commander-in-chief is supposedly elected by we the people. The commander of the military. So why does the media not put these questions to them? And why do they take their stupid double talk, double speak answers? Why do they accept that? Why do they not ask for the truth? I'll tell you why. Because they're bought and paid for. Just like the evil politicians. And that's their job. Just think about it. Knowledge is something they can never take away from you. Kaz out.